Get ready. You're listening to Give God 90 live.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
We are live on a Thursday night. Welcome to Give God 90, everybody. My name is Jerry Mitchell. Sitting beside me tonight,
hello,
the person with the hardest job in the world, trying to keep me straight, my lovely wife, Myra. Last week, I want to thank Butch one more time for joining me last week. There's Pam.
Hi, Pam.
Butch and I had a really, really good talk. We've known each other for a very long time, and it was great to have him join us last week and talk about, how important it is to keep all of the memorials active. And if we lose our, if we lose our memorials, we lose our identity as a culture. So it was great to have him, and I hope he's doing well this week. He might actually pop on here later. I don't know. We'll see.
That'd be cool.
Don't forget, go to GiveGod90.com. Learn all about us there. You can catch us on YouTube, Facebook. We are on Spreaker, which puts us on just about every podcast outlet out there. So whatever your favorite podcast outlet is, there it is. I actually was pleased last week. I think it was this past week. Somebody from SoundCloud shared one of our podcasts, so that was exciting.
That was.
Always good to have that happen. The books are still available wherever books are sold. You can get it from Amazon, Barnes & Nobles. It's out there. All that stuff's out there. And everything that is out there helps us do what we do.
Okay.
So, tonight, something... how do I want to say this? It might not go where you think it's going to go, because we're going to talk about a path of destruction. And when we think about a path of destruction, sometimes we might get the idea. You remember the old, some of the folks around the world might not have seen the old Looney Tunes Bugs Bunny commercial, or not commercial, but show, where the Tasmanian Devil was on there and he'd zoom around and he just left a path of destruction wherever he went. Mm-hmm. Other people might know folks who, hey, there's Carol. There she's joined us. She got
Carol.
here before Jay did.
Uh-oh.
Oh, there's competition there. But some people might have the old Dennis the Menace cartoon and TV show kind of in mind when you talk about a path of destruction.
Right.
Some people might think, oh no, here comes the grandkids, but nail down the breakables kind of a thing. That kind of thing might be going on. But that's not exactly what we're going to look at. What I'm thinking about is these people who leave a path of destruction wherever they go, but it's not always visible. Sometimes this path of destruction, they leave in destroyed lives. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's destroyed relationships. Sometimes it's they destroy people's character. Mm-hmm. They destroy people's trust, and that kind of thing. So that's what we're going to look at tonight, and why this happens, and how this happens, and what we can do to identify it, not just in other people, but we need to watch it in ourselves as well. One of the places I want to start is actually in Psalm 5. And this actually comes from the Tree of Life version. So verses 1 through 7, if you want to read down through that.
For the music director on the wind instruments, a Psalm of David. Hear my words, Adonai, consider my groaning. Listen to the sound of my cry for help. My King and my God, I pray to you. Adonai, in the morning you hear my voice. In the morning I order my prayer before you and watch expectantly. For you are not a God who rejoices in evil. No wickedness dwells with you. Braggarts will not stand before your eyes. You hate all wrongdoers. You destroy those who speak falsehood. A person of bloodshed and deceit Adonai detests.
Okay. Now that might sound like a... Kathy joined us. Hi,
Kathy.
That might sound like an odd place to start when we think about this path of destructive people, or this path of destruction that people leave behind. But the braggarts will not stand in front of your eyes. That's not really the best translation of that, but it's close. It's close. The word braggart here that they translated actually is the word to shine, the verb to shine. And that verb can be used as either a positive or a negative context. Now, if it says that God's face shines on you, that's actually a positive context, right?
True.
Or if the rays of light that come from the Almighty shine on you, that's a positive context.
Right.
What this is talking about is when you're trying to make yourself shine. So when you try to do it your own way, when you try to do it yourself, that's a negative context. It says those who try to do things their own way, those who try to build themselves up, the Almighty does not allow them to stand in His presence. Now, everybody likes to brag on themselves a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now,
it's human nature.
It's human nature. People like to brag on each other too, right?
Yes.
But we can do that in a way that builds people up, or we can do that in a way that tears people down. If you're doing it in a way that builds other people up, that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're trying to build yourself up by tearing other people down, that's a bad thing, right? Okay. So that's where that comes from. And the people who tend to weave this path of destruction as they go through life, they sort of have this way of trying to build themselves up by tearing other people down. They always want to make themselves look good, but they really can't do it on their own, and they know they're not doing it on their own. So the only way they can make themselves look good is when they tear other people down. Mm-hmm. There's Jay. I saw he
Jay.
just popped in on
Hi, Tina.
Spreaker. And you're right, Jay. They are very lethal people. We're going to get into that in a second, because it really is amazing when you think about these folks and how they operate in the world. Solomon tells us in Proverbs 132, and this is now the International Children's Bible puts it this way: fools wander away and get killed. They are destroyed because they don't care. Now, Wycliffe, on the other hand, he gets a little more detailed. And I like Wycliffe every once in a while just because he puts things in perspective. Wycliffe says, "The turning away of little men in wit shall slay them, and the prosperity of the fools shall lose them. This turning away by those with little wit or low intelligence shall lead to their own slaughter. Yes, the prosperity of fools will bring about their own destruction." Have you ever heard the term "stupid people destroy themselves"?
Mm-hmm.
They do, and it comes from right here. You know, Solomon kind of gets real every once in a while. I'm going to get real here in a minute, Jay. You're going to enjoy this tonight. How about Proverbs 13:20? Again, from the International Children's Bible. "Whoever spends time with wise people will become wise." Mm-hmm. That makes sense. "But whoever makes friends with fools will suffer." Have you ever been around somebody and you think, man, how do I get away from this person? I need to just leave right now because something bad is about to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that's the feeling right here, right?
Right.
Now, the message. I don't often use the message. I don't like the message that much, but this time, the message lays it out pretty plain and simple. Are you ready for this from the Message? People ruin their lives by their own stupidity. So why does God always get blamed? Why does God always get blamed? I mess something up. Yeah, I bet you do, Kathy. I know where you work, and I bet you do run into it all the time. Whenever we do something dumb, it's like, why'd you let me do that, Lord? It's not my fault. It's His fault, right? Wrong. It's our fault. Mm-hmm. We did it. It's our own fault. We don't take the time. We don't do things the way we should, and it becomes our own fault. David writes in Psalm 53:1, "A wicked fool says to himself, 'There's no gods.' Fools are evil. They do terrible things. None of them do anything good." And that's right. Mm-hmm. It's plain and simple. The Hebrew word for foolish is also often translated as senseless. It's not the difference between wisdom and senseless kind of thing. It's not even the difference between, you're right, Carol, it is our choice. It's not even the difference between smart and dumb, right? Mm-hmm. Because smart people can do dumb things, mm-hmm. right?
They sure can.
I guess I'm a dumb person because I do dumb things all the time, but that's just who I am. A lot of times, like the other year when I cut my finger, I knew better, but I did it. Wasn't on purpose, but I did it. And I use that tool a lot, and it happens. It was just something dumb that I should have known better. But now I do. But the word Nabal is foolish. And we actually get the definition of foolish. The first time it's used in Scripture is in Deuteronomy 32:6. And the Holman puts it, "Is this how you repay the Lord, you foolish and senseless people? Isn't He your Father and Creator? Didn't He make you and sustain you?" As Moses is asking this question, he says, wait a minute. Don't you know where you come from? Mm-hmm. How stupid can you be? Well, you're right. It is easier to blame others than blame ourselves. More on that in a second. When Moses asked this question, he really identifies and defines foolish. Don't you know where you come from? Mm-hmm. Don't you know what you're doing? Don't you understand anything? It's pretty plain. It's pretty simple. I see that, Jay. It's pretty plain and pretty simple. He's saying if you don't understand where you came from, how are you going to understand anything? The most basic, simple thing simple concept that you can grasp is, in the beginning, God created. Right? Mm-hmm. That's about as simple and plain and basic as it gets. And if you can't understand that, where else are you going to go? Mm-hmm. Senseless or unwise is what the word represents. If you don't know who your Creator is, or you reject Him, you're not wise. You're a fool. Some translations, like the Message, call it stupid. And I will probably slip and talk about stupid people before long. More on that. Solomon tells us that foolish people destroy, right? Wise people build. In fact, that's throughout Scripture. Wise people build up, not just things, but they build each other up. Foolish people tear each other down. If the fool disregards the Creator and doesn't know where he comes from, he can't build other people up. He's got to tear other people down. He doesn't have the choice. It's the only way he can make himself look good. Getting back to the braggart, right? Mm-hmm. Who cannot stand in front of the Almighty. The people who... Well, I'll get to that in a second. Let's look at Proverbs chapter 1, the first few verses. The Proverbs of Solomon, the son of David, the king of Israel, to know wisdom and instruction, to perceive the words of understanding, to receive the instruction of wisdom, justice, and judgment, and equity, to give subtly to the simple, to the young man knowledge and discretion. A wise man will hear and increase learning, and a man of understanding shall attain wise counsel. So if you're wise, you're going to know your Creator, right? Mm-hmm. If you're wise, you're going to seek His instruction. You're going to understand those first 5 books of the Bible. Or you're going to do your best to try to understand it. Yep. Yeah, Jay says, just look at what in the world's going on now. That's proof. You're right, Jay. We have a lot of people trying to tear things down. There are people who weave conflict wherever they go. It doesn't matter if it's in the workplace. It doesn't matter if it's in school. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter if it's in their family. And it even happens in churches. Mm-hmm. It even happens in the communities of believers. We were, a few years ago, sitting in a restaurant, and you know how you sit in a restaurant and you hear things from other tables? It's harder to do that now because, you know, they distance tables away, right?
They're every other table.
Which
now.
makes it peaceful, but not as much fun sometimes. But anyway, we were sitting there, and behind the booth behind us, there was the pastor and assistant or associate pastor from a local church, right? Mm-hmm. And they were actually conspiring on how to create conflict in the congregation so that they could get rid of the people that they didn't want there anymore. Now, if that's not leaving a path of destruction,
yes,
I don't know what is. And I can tell you, and Pastor, if you're listening to me, I'm going to tell you this right now. Right now. You need to repent, because the day you stand before your Creator, He's going to look at you and say, you didn't do this for me, buddy. You did it for you. Mm-hmm. There's a diving board. Into the lake of fire you go. That's where He's going.
That's it. That's
where He's headed. He has no business. He has no authority. He has nothing to do with the Almighty. He is weaving a path of destruction, and he is stupid. Yes, I said that. I don't care how much education. You know, you can graduate with a PhD and still be stupid if you don't honestly believe the words the Almighty said are true. But here's the interesting thing about this. This guy he honestly believes he's doing a good job shepherding his flock. He's still there. He's still in that church today. Mm-hmm. And some of the people that he was talking about are still in that church today. Yeah. It hasn't worked yet. Mm-hmm. But he's still working on it. He's still trying. He's still weaving contention and conflict in that congregation, in that body of believers. And here's the thing that really will gripe you. And I'll tell you, if it doesn't gripe you, it needs to. There are people in that congregation who will follow him wherever he goes, because he has them so fooled and so wrapped around his hand and his little finger, and however you want to say it, that they can't see the truth because he won't allow them to see the truth, and they refuse to search for it on their own.
That's it.
That is sad. That is a shame, and it needs to stop. Folks, and I know there's a lot of people around the world listening, it's not just in the United States. It's all over, and it's in every congregation. There are people who refuse to abide by the Creator's instructions because, well, you know what, God, it's more fun. Look at how much fun those folks are having over there. Oh, isn't it just, I think I'd rather, I know I shouldn't, but I'm going to go over there and I'm going to join in this little gossip session with them because I want to know what's going on. I want to see what's happening. These are the people that you might not be willing to admit leave a path of destruction, but they are leaving a path of destruction.
They are.
They are actually creating havoc. And it's easy to see it in other people. It's kind of hard to see it in ourselves sometimes, though, isn't it? When we do things to build ourselves up by tearing other people down. I've done it. Don't think I've done it lately, have I? You don't know? I haven't? Okay, that's
Not
good.
in front of me.
Not in front of you? Well, at least I'm doing it in secret. Maybe I'm doing it in my own mind. I don't know. But if we build each other up, it's not for ourselves. That brings glory to the Almighty. And He says that's fine. We can shine when we all shine together. We can shine when we shine in the light of His glory. But when we try to do it on our own, when we try to do it for ourselves, that is when it's wrong. That is when we get in trouble. And that is when people look at us, they'll call us foolish, they'll call us hypocrites, and they'll call us stupid, and we deserve every derogatory statement we get at that point. When we put ourselves in the situation that pastor's in, and he's not the only one, trust me, he's not the only one. We look around and we lead people down the wrong path. We are leading people, instead of to find the face of the Almighty, we're leading them to find the face of some other God. And according to Deuteronomy 13, that is a no-no. That is something you don't get to do. If you do that, well, I think you should put it this way. It's better to have a millstone tied around your neck and you get thrown in the ocean. Mm-hmm. Okay? Just take a big rock. Hey, there's Sean. Just take a big rock.
Hi, Sean.
Hold on to it and jump overboard in deep water. Okay?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because it's better to do that than it is to bring contention to a body of believers. When you bring contention and conflict to a body of believers, the Almighty will look at you as you approach that throne on Judgment Day. And He's going to say, who are you and why are you here? Mm-hmm. Because
right.
I don't know who you are. You weren't doing it for me. You were doing it for you. And that's not going to get you where you think you're going to go. I don't care what denomination you are. I don't care who you are. And it doesn't matter, because Scripture says, I don't know you. Depart from me. Mm-hmm. Words you do not want to hear. I need to calm down just a little bit because I got wound up a little bit. Jay's saying, yeah, you go. Here's the bottom line of all this. If you claim to believe in your Creator, if you claim to believe every word He says, then you might want to follow every word He says. You might not, is it tough? Yeah, sometimes it can be. Because there's things, you read the Bible, it's like, yeah, you should do this, you should do this. Okay, that's easy. You should do that. Oh, I don't know about that one. You sure, God? I don't know. That one might be kind of tough. And then you look on the other side of the page and it says, well, don't do this. Okay, I don't have to do that. Don't do that. Okay, no problem there. Don't do that. Wait a minute. I like doing that. But you don't do it. That's when things get tough. It's not because, it's not because you can't. It's because you don't want to. And sometimes the want to, Carol, I think, commented up on Facebook, it's our choice. And it is a choice. Everything you do is a choice. Everything you do is a choice. You can either choose to build people up, or you can choose to tear people down. You can choose to lead a path of righteousness or a path of destruction. The people who leave a path of destruction wherever they go, and I know several, you don't always see it at first, because you want to see the good in people, right? Mm-hmm. And that's, the other, was it last week or week before, on Monday, I did the difference between the difference between faith and trust. Faith is based on a promise. Trust is based on action. Now, if somebody is holding on to you and they're beating you with a stick and they say, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this, I promise I'm going to stop, I promise I'm going to stop beating on you with this stick, you want to have faith that they're going to keep their word, right? Mm-hmm. Hopefully you have faith that they're going to keep their word. But their actions are telling you can't trust that person, right?
That's right.
So if somebody is continually doing harm, but they keep saying, oh, I'll do better, I'll do better, just give me another chance, I'll do better, but they continue to do harm, you want to be able to help them, but you realize that you can't trust them to keep their promise. Mm-hmm. That's when you need to just say, you know what, you've not reached a position yet where you're willing to change. You've not reached a situation bad enough yet that's going to cause you to say, I want to change in my own heart. Mm-hmm. When that happens, then that person can actually get help. But until that happens, they don't think they're doing anything wrong. They don't think there's anything wrong with the way they're living their life. They don't understand, they don't realize, and they don't comprehend that people don't trust them. They don't realize that people around them watch their actions because they're so busy building themselves up that they're leaving this path of destruction behind them. They don't realize that they're hurting their family, they're hurting their friends, and they're hurting themselves. Most importantly, they have hurt and separated their relationship with the Almighty. Some of them are so blatant that they say, I don't need God. Don't even want Him. Others, and these are the more destructive people, say, oh yes, I love the Lord my God. He's just, me and Him are buddies. But they continue to do all the harm they can do so that they can make themselves look good. Again, no pastors like that too. Church is not a competition, right? You know, I have listened to pastors. I've been around them. I've listened to them. And to hear a pastor say, well, how many people did you have join your church? How many people did you get saved this week? Well, we got 2. Oh, we had 3. Oh, we didn't do that good. We just didn't do that good. You know what? They didn't save anybody. They didn't save a soul that week because God don't care about your competition. God don't care about your church membership. What God cares about is how many disciples you're making. And if you're not following His word, you're not a disciple. Therefore, you cannot make disciples.
That's it.
You cannot make something that you are not. I had somebody tell me one time, I don't have to know how to do your job. I just have to know how to make you do your job better. Well, that, to me, was a challenge, right? Mm-hmm. For me to hear that from somebody, well, you better know my job, because if you don't, you're going to pay me a whole lot of money for a whole little bit of work. Mm-hmm. little bit of work, too. Here's the thing. If you're not following in the footsteps of the Almighty, you're not a disciple. If you're not a disciple, you cannot make disciples, because the people who are watching you are going to look at you and they are going to say, you are a stupid fool because you ain't doing it right. Mm-hmm. That's good Sussex County English right there. Mm-hmm. You ain't doing it right. You have not reached the point where you can lead people to the Almighty if you are not following His instructions.
That's right.
It's that simple. It's that simple. And if you don't know Him, you're just plain stupid, according to the message. Mm-hmm. Where was that again? I like that. You know, I got to start reading that more often. People ruin their lives by their own stupidity. So why does God always get blamed? Why does God always get blamed? We have a society in the United States, especially today, where people, it's never my fault. We get to blame somebody else. Mm-hmm. Somebody goes on a crime spree. Well, something must have caused that. There must have been some social trigger. There must have been something that caused that. Well, there is something that causes that.
There is.
It's called sin. It's called evil. It's called you made a bad decision. Right?
That's right.
Doesn't mean you have to live in that bad decision. You can turn around. Right? You have the option to repent
And not do that
and
anymore.
not do that anymore. But it's so much fun. Right. Sure it is. Tell me in about 1,000 years how much fun it is. Oh, wait. You won't have the opportunity to. I think we're that close. In 1,000 years, you will be forgotten. Nobody will remember you. Nobody will remember you. Think about that. The most terrible thing in the ancient Hebrew mindset was to be forgotten, so that nobody remembers who you are. That was the worst thing that could happen to you. The absolute worst thing that could happen to you. Now, the modern Christian church has turned that all around, because whatever you do is acceptable. Well, it might be acceptable to get you into church, but it's not acceptable to get you where you want to go. The only way you're going to get to go where you're going to go is to follow his instructions. You know, the definition of a saint is pretty simple. It's laid out in Revelation 13, I believe, is where it's found. It says to believe in the Messiah Yeshua and to obey the commands of the Almighty. It's pretty simple. It's all you got to do. It's not hard. It's not rocket science. Don't be stupid. Don't be foolish. You know, the people who leave a path of destruction are nothing but stupid fools. I know plenty of them. Been one. Been there. Trust me, I've been there. You know, Paul says of all the sinners, he's the best. He got nothing on me. Really. Here's what I'm going to leave you with. Don't get caught up in somebody else's foolishness. Right? You have the opportunity not to accept someone else's mistakes.
That's right.
You don't have to own somebody else's problem. You can choose to buy into it. But then again, what did Solomon say about spending time with foolish people? It's down here. Which one was it? Anyway, it's in here. Solomon said, which one was it? It's talking about going away with. No, it's not one. Oh, whoever spends time with wise people will become wise, but whoever makes friends with a fool will suffer. You don't have to buy into somebody else's foolishness. You don't have to buy into their stupidity. You know, trust me, you're going to do dumb stuff on your own. We all do. Each and every one of us do dumb stuff. The wisest person in the world, at some point, is going to do something he's going to wonder to himself, how dumb can I be? Right?
That's it.
The person with the least amount of intelligence sometimes is going to do something, and you're going to look at him and go, I didn't realize that person was that smart. Right? Because that's the way it works. And I'm not talking about smart and dumb here, right? I'm talking about wise and foolish, right? The wisest person in the world is going to do something dumb. The most foolish person in the world, hopefully, will do the wisest thing they can and repent. But it's their choice. You can't do it for them.
That's right.
There's no way in the world you're going to do it for them. Don't get caught up in somebody else's foolishness. Don't buy it. Don't own it. Stay,
Run away.
run away until until they get to the point, and I say this, I think it's in God's universe, God's rules. When they reach a point where they have to look up to see the bottom of down, that's when you can help them. Because that's when they're ready to be helped. That's when they're ready to be helped. When they reach the point, when they know they can no longer do it on their own, that's when you can help them. Mm-hmm. Until they reach that point, you can't. And some people are foolish enough, they're never going to reach that point. No. They're always going to think there's another way. They always think they can do it themselves. Ladies and gentlemen, it has absolutely been an honor to have all of you join us this evening.
Has.
I thank you so very much. Did you have anything else you wanted to add to that?
No.
No? Okay.
Have a good evening.
Have a good evening, everyone. Don't forget the like buttons and the share buttons and all those good things. We love seeing all of you, all the great comments. Love it. And Jay says he doesn't need any help being dumb. I don't either. Till next week, everybody. Have a blessed week. Good night, everyone.